Hi, I'm Mat Braddy. I was the first global marketing director for Just Eat PLC. Some people call it a unicorn, which is a stupid phrase. Digital marketing had really dominated the previous decade of marketing. Google had become a huge force for people like Booking.com. And we did that really well. The geek side of my brain loves that shit. But the creative side of building a company and finding your vision and purpose kind of emerged in a kind of scruffy, haphazard manner. But it was dawning on me as we were becoming very good at performance marketing that was a plateau. And what we started to notice was that Just Eat as a phrase was being searched a lot more, which is obviously a brand, and I hadn't really given a huge amount of thought to brand. So from the first meeting with Richard, what Richard pointed out to me and my team was that a lot of the things we were doing around the sites that was beginning to build our brand, we'd spend our evenings messing around on this new thing called Facebook, but we didn't really do much of that in the day. I'm a child, so it was quite fun to mess around with student humour. But what Richard was able to do was really give us a mission around that and make that part of the day job by building a brand that people noticed and talked about. Going back to the digital side of my brain, all of those metrics got better. Ultimately, it comes down to, are people talking about you? Do they notice what you say? So Richard started working with us, our global head of brand, and he really listens very well and is a very keen observer of humanity. What Richard did was then implement a process with us to try and or articulate what was already in the company, which was at the time, it's half Danish, half British, and it's got the best of both of those personalities. A combativeness to it. You're talking about the Danish who think they're still Vikings and the British who think they're building an empire still. And what Richard was able to do was observe that energy and begin to channel it through his processes into a vision and a mission and a purpose for the whole business. And building that, articulating that with one word, rebellious. Aha! And that was like a light bulb moment. That the next conversation was then, well, if we're rebellious, what are we rebelling against? Well, we deliver cooked meals to people of an evening. We must be rebelling against them making their own meals. Well, we must be rebelling against cooking. So if you're going to rebel against cooking, what Richard showed us was how broad that world could be. It's not just an advert that says don't cook, just eat. It's a full campaign against cooking. Do you not want to see a plate of your foie gras salad crap on my Instagram? It's Jamie Oliver or Gordon Ramsay. No one ever cooked any of the stuff those guys were, showing on their programs. After we've been running the campaign for a while, if we're serious about becoming a brand, a huge brand with limited resources, then we have to really lean into this campaign. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And his bright idea was to then run for government. But it resulted in our character from our TV advert being on the 10 o'clock news. It resulted in an article on the One Show, and it worked really well. And for me, meeting Richard's been one of the most important people I've worked with in my life. I was even though I love being creative and I got into marketing because I love being creative, I'd really become brainwashed by digital marketing. Richard showed me that creativity itself is a vital part of success in life, and I hadn't really given that enough credit. I've really been exploring that. I was able to take what I'd learned working with Richard and apply it to other businesses. But really, I started to apply his approach of purpose and mission to myself as an individual. I reconnected with that creative teenager. I'd always loved film. I love movies. So I found my purpose. I had a vision of I want to become a filmmaker. I've just spent the last 2 years doing a master's. I've made my first short film, and again, it's building on the lessons I learned with Richard I've never been happier and more motivated than I am right now in my middle age. I've found what I love doing. As filmmakers, we have to do something that you'll notice and that you'll think about. So again, all these lessons I learned from Richard and how you do that for a business apply directly to being a writer and a director. Like I say, whether it's a business or an individual, he's a great listener, he's a great analyst. He can pull out of a situation that's as anarchic as Just Eat was in its early days and make that anarchy into a solid foundation for success, whether as an individual or as a business or as in my case, a story or a film.